Um, from the Wall Street Journal. U.S. flips history by casting Europe, not Russia, as the villain in new security policy. I'm gonna read this for y'all, and then I'm gonna point some shit out to you guys. Brussels, from Brussels. For years, the U.S. government has published an annual national security strategy that lays out how Washington sees the world in its approach to dealing with looming threats from China to Russia to drug traffickers in Latin America. This week, the Trump admin's version seemed to reverse its harshest tone for a new target: America's closest allies in Europe. They are not our closest fucking allies. Stop buying that fucking lie now. I'm telling you guys right now, they're not our closest allies. And we'll get into it after I fucking finish reading. The 30-page document painted European nations as wayward, declining powers that have ceded their sovereignty to the European Union and are led by governments that suppress democracy and muzzle voices that want a more nationalistic turn. That is absolute fact. Every single right-wing fucking or conservative group in any European nation right now is being oppressed, with the exception of maybe like Hungary and Poland, by the governments in that fucking country. Like, for example, the AfD in Germany. They have branded the AfD and the members of the AfD as fucking Nazis in Germany, even though they have the highest approval rating out of all the political parties in Germany. And the German government has classified the AfD, which is a political organization, as a terrorist group, effectively, so that they can use the powers of the government in Germany to spy on the members of the AfD and to constantly raid their homes. It's irrefutable. It's irrefutable fact that the member nations of the European Union are doing everything in their power to actually suppress democracy and muzzle any voices that are against the narratives that these countries are pushing right now. That's why. So if that's not the case, guys, if the European Union isn't suppressing democracy, why is the European Union fining Poland for Poland refusing to take in Syrian refugees? When it's already known by the West, literally, and the European Union and NATO, it is known that for years, Russia has been allowing Syrians and other Middle Easterners into Russia so that then they can push them along the border of NATO countries and European Union countries, because they knew that they were able to abuse the policies of the European Union to push all of these asylum seekers into the European Union to economically wage war against the European Union and NATO members. So if NATO and the European Union already know that this is happening, and I don't know if you guys know this, but Poland's pretty fucking close to Russia. Pretty fucking close, right? And so what they so Poland's like, no, you're not pushing these people into our country. We're not going to accept it, right? Because not only is it doing harm to the Polish and Poland, but it's doing a lot of harm to the European Union, right? And then the European Union fines Poland for it, even though the European Union and NATO have already acknowledged that Russia is engaging in this behavior to wage a certain level of economic war against the European Union. So, what are the people who are leading the European Union and NATO just retarded, and are they liars? Or is the European Union actually suppressing democracy and muzzling voices that are antithetical to what they want to say? Right? Because here's what's been happening in the West for quite a few years now, right? The rise of liberalism in these countries and the destruction of like the nuclear family in the West, on top of um immoralizing the cultures in the West by removing them from God, has has caused a decline in birth rates. Right? There's a lot of factors that go into this. It's not just that. Like, there's also economic factors and stuff like that. It's caused a decline in the West. But because in the West we have a lot of social welfare programs that take care of older people, that are based on having more people in the generations below the generations of the older people in order to pay for those programs, There's only one option, and that's to bring in all of these fucking illegal immigrants or all of these immigrants so that you can fucking put them on the system to start taxing them to pay in the system to take care of these fucking old people. Even though it's the old people who intentionally created a system to fucking make it to where the younger generations are having fewer and fewer people. Why is that? Why is that? Why is it that fucking Alexander Hamilton and our founding fathers were like in their fucking 20s? Alexander Hamilton was like 21 or some shit like that, right? Why was it that for a long time in this country, you had relatively young people in the government, and now we just have nothing but a bunch of fucking dinosaurs? It's because all the people in the government today intentionally created a system in our country to make it to where the younger and younger generations have less and less fucking power. Because when you have all of the people, a large majority of the people who vote in this country are around the fucking age of Trump, right? They're voting for people around that fucking age group, not the younger people. But the younger people can't ever vote in other younger people to fucking actually change the country or address the problems because you guys aren't having fucking kids because the people who are older than you tricked you into believing that abortions are fucking great, birth control is great, etc., etc. And they did it not to push for your well-being or to take care of you or something like that. They did it so they can control you for generations. That's why. And so like that's what you're having with the European Union, and that's why they're pushing these policies as well. It says the continent faces civilizational erasure through immigration that could render it unrecognizable in 2 decades, as well as turning several North Atlantic Treaty Organization allies into majority non-European countries. It concludes that region could grow too weak to be reliable allies. I already think the European Union and many member states of the European Union have always been too weak to be reliable allies. The document underscores how radically the Trump admin is reshaping traditional American foreign policy and is likely to deepen divisions in the transatlantic alliance, which has largely kept the peace in Europe since World War II and promoted Western values across the world. No, it hasn't. NATO has not kept the peace in Europe, nor have they actually even fucking promoted Western values across the world. Have you guys noticed that in your lifetime, in my lifetime, right? Some of y'all are slightly older than me. Some of y'all are slightly younger than me. There hasn't been a single country on planet Earth that has changed its value structure. Oh, wow. In Egypt, they watch Marvel movies. Yep. And they just watch them. They don't give a fuck about all your subliminal messaging or the value structure that you're trying to push on them. They only believe in their Islamic value structure. Wow, in China, Hollywood literally creates secondary versions of certain movies that the Chinese government expresses concern over in order to push those movies in China so that they can make more money. So they will literally remove Western values that they promote. Hollywood, they remove Western values from certain movies and TV shows. It's in order for them to be broadcasted in China. No one's fucking getting Western values pushed on them across the world. You either believe in the West or you don't. Just like you either believe in the East or you don't. Kobe says, remember, guys, only white countries need immigration and equality. Yeah, exactly. Don't be a fool. Wrap your tool. Better hope they don't have Xbox controllers laying around. I've been going in on some motherfucking Xbox players the last couple days. I'll tell you guys that. Right meow. The document landed like a bucket of cold water in European capitals. European leaders reading the document need to assume that the traditional transatlantic relationship is dead, said Katja Bego, a senior researcher at Chatham House, a think tank in London. Why the... Okay. I'll finish. Timothy Garton Ash, a prominent British historian, described the document as the mother of all wake-up calls for Europe. We're in this extraordinary position where the U.S. is still objectively an ally of Europe, but subjectively, at least in the Trump admin, in the view of many Europeans, we're no longer seeing each other that way. Because we've never been that way. Since President Trump returned to office in January, most European leaders have worked to address his concerns while currying favor with him. Those efforts have won kind words from Trump, but others on his team displayed disdain for Europe and antipathy towards many European policies. Many points in the national security strategy echo critiques that Vice President J.D. Vance first made. Weeks into the admin at a security conference in Munich in February, they amplify criticisms of Europe leveled by MAGA supporters and highlight transatlantic differences. Yes, because we aren't Europeans and Europeans aren't us. Okay? So this article is making me very fucking irritated. But anyway, so the synopsis of this fucking article is that the Wall Street Journal is trying to assert that the U.S. flips history by casting Europe, not Russia, as villain in new security policy. So here's what I want to point out, right? Here's where I'll bring the common sense to this fucking article for the masses. How many wars has the United States had with Russia? Does anyone have an answer? I forgot to restart my stream on Kick. Fuck. Best viewers. That's right. Best viewers. Let's go. Does anyone have an answer? How many times have we had a war with Russia? Anyone? Anyone? Matt? Slain? Kobe? Zero. Zero. Wow. Holy shit. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. Goddamn. Zero. You mean to tell me zero? Are you sure about that? Are you fucking sure about that? How sure are you about that? Before you Google it. Oh, 000. Okay, good. All right. So here's the truth, guys. We have had zero wars with Russia. We've engaged in proxy wars with Russia. Okay? But that's in the modern day and age. We have had one tense conflict with Russia that we labeled as a war, and everybody knows that it's referred to as the Cold War. But why is it referred to as the Cold War, guys? Because there was no conflict. That's why. The Cold War was effectively an economic war waged by the United States and Russia the Soviet Union against one another. Right? That's what the Cold War fundamentally was. It wasn't actually a war. And here, I will admit this, I'm fair. I am fair, okay? Hiding under the desk, nuclear bomb, let's go, right? Well, see, that's where this bullshit comes from. But let me point this out to you guys. There has been an American invasion in Russia. There absolutely has been. Americans invaded the Soviet Union. Well, actually, it wasn't the Soviet Union at the time, right? During the Russian Civil War, when the communists started to take over the fucking country and they were fighting against the Tsars, right? America did invade Russia on behalf of the Russians. America gave support to the Russian Tsars to fight the communists, and we did have troops in Russia to help fight the communists. But it was like basically nothing, right? It was basically nothing. And this was happening at the same time as World War I, right? And so that's it. Now let me ask you guys, how many wars have we had with European countries? Hey, what do you say? Got me some peanuts and crackers today? Nice. And in a couple of years, we will be asking the Russians to fight the communists in our own country? Maybe. I don't know. I think communism is kind of baked into Russians nowadays. They're not exactly full-blown, full-fledged communists because they realized it doesn't work, right? But again, how many wars have we had with European countries? Can anyone give me a number? Actually, don't even give me a number. Give me a list of European countries that we've had a war with. Right? Give me a list. England, Spain, France, Canada, right? The Canadians were the ones who burned down the White House. Germany, Italy. Let's see here. What else do we have here? I don't think we've ever had a legitimate war against Portugal, but we've had some Or I don't think we've actually even had conflict with the Portuguese. I think we and the Portuguese supported one another against the Spanish. Um, let's see. Then um you also have like the other smaller countries that NATO was fucking bombing in the 80s and the 90s, right? Wow. Imagine that, guys. Oh, sorry, Germany twice. Germany twice, right? I guess you can kind of count Hungary, right? When it was Austria Hungary. Um so last time I checked on the scoreboard, do you know what snaps is? Are you talking about SNAP? Yeah, I do know what SNAP is. Our country has Obamacare, aka free healthcare, snaps, aka free food. We got child support where you basically get 2K per kid you have without a dad. Yeah, and I think that's all garbage. I think it's all garbage. I don't think it's anyone's responsibility to take care of anyone else. It's that simple. It's no one's responsibility to take care of me. Um, America's basically communist. That's not communism, it's socialism. Communism is the full takeover of socialism. So when everything becomes socialized, then it would be communism. But yeah, you're right. America is unfortunately basically fucking communist, which is retarded. But anyways, on the scoreboard, right? On the scoreboard, it actually looks like we've had more conflict with Europe and European countries over the almost 2.5 centuries of our country's history than we've actually ever had with Russia, right? So let's just say our main contact with Russia has been since the First World War, right? So it's been over 100 years. So a little less than half of the length of our country being a fucking country, we've had no wars with Russia, and we've had multiple wars with various European countries that are considered to be the heads of the European Union. So, how is it the United States flipping history, casting Europe as the bad guy instead of Russia? Russia was only turned into the bad guy post World War II to push the liberal economic order. Russia, China, Japan. I love Korea, India. Also, let's forget Europe, the people we had to get independence from. I'm not a fan of China or Russia, right? Because I don't like communism. I don't like fucking socialism, right? I don't really have any beef with Korea, India, or Japan, right? I think Japan had like here's what I will say, right? We fucking Japan, the land of the rising sun, was turned into the land of the rising suns by the United States. I think Japan is actually one of our truest allies. I think Japan is one of our truest allies. 100% hands down. One of our truest and best fucking allies. I think Japanese culture is fucking based. I think that their whole cultural fucking belief around honor is amazing. I do think they take it a little too extreme in some circumstances, and this is why they have a pretty high suicide rate, right? And depression rate. Because that is a lot to sit on your shoulders for your entire life, right? But I respect the fuck out of it. South Korea might like us more, but Japan respects us more. Yeah, South Korea definitely likes us more. Um, but I think you're 100% right. As being a former Marine, I do think that Japan respects us more than they like us, and I think South Korea likes us more. Their society is so much better than ours at this point. Um, I want to argue that because I'm emotionally attached to this country. And I don't want to admit our society has degraded, but I am willing to admit what the fuck? Why was that deleted? Um uh Sutern, my bad, man. I need to get over on Kick and change the mod shit. I haven't touched that since I made a Kick account. But he said, dude, Japan is like the Cali of Asia. Um, you think Japan is the Cali of Asia? Uh, but it's like, look, I will admit our society is degrading. It has degraded really fucking bad. It's eroding. And that's why I'm doing this. I cannot I joined the Marine Corps for a reason, right? I joined the Marine Corps because I'm not a guy who I don't want to talk. I just want to fight. That's it. I don't want to talk. I love this fucking country so much. I don't want to talk. I just want to fight. That's it. But I'm doing this because this is me. This, honestly, I'll admit it. I am crying out for help. That is what I'm doing by doing these fucking streams because I love this country so much. I don't want to see this country be turned into the bullshit that the left wants it to be turned into. And I need people to stand behind me so we can fucking change it. Or else I'm just going to have to lose my shit. That's it. And then when I lose my shit, that's how you end up getting another killdozer. Um, at least the Japanese are fighting collectively to save themselves from social decay. We have half our country trying to destroy itself. Japan has the 9 monsters. South Korea has the 3 tigers. And all these companies love both India and America. um, but anyways, so what are y'all's thoughts? Right, I know a lot of Americans are more and more so growing disillusioned with the European Union and Europeans. Like ask yourselves this: what has Europe ever done for us? What have they ever done for us? Because a lot of people from these European countries, they want to say dumb shit. Well, we helped you guys in Iraq. Oh, yay, you guys sent 100 Canadian paratroopers to come to Iraq with America so that they can get some combat experience. Wow, thank you. You did fucking great. Good job. Germany sent like 300 people. I don't know what the actual numbers are, but the numbers are so insignificant, it's not even worth fucking bringing up. And I don't give a fuck that you want to say, well, our militaries are small. Exactly. You guys see what you see the problem I'm getting at here? Y'all haven't done shit for us. All you guys did was create 2 world wars and drag us into them, where we lost thousands, hundreds of thousands of our own people fighting your fucking wars because you guys want to create communism. You guys wanted to create fucking fascism. You guys are the ones who wanted to create fucking Nazism, right? You guys are the ones who want to do all this dumb shit all the fucking time and drag us down, and then you want to act like you're our greatest fucking allies? Suck my dick and call me a bitch. Um, Ukraine should not have happened if EU was a thing. Ukraine wants to be NATO, then EU, fine, prove it. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't give a fuck about Ukraine. I, I'll be honest. I think it's unfortunate, right? I don't want innocent people to die anywhere in the world. Even if I disagree with you, if you're innocent, you haven't transgressed against somebody else, you're not violent towards somebody else. I don't want you to die, right? I would like to change your mind. I honestly would, but I don't care. It's not my country. It's not my fight. My country is my fight. And I'll die on that. I will die on that fucking hill. And the Ukrainians should be dying on the hill of Ukraine for Ukraine. And if the European Union and NATO want to fucking push for Ukraine and say they support Ukraine, then make it happen. Then do it. Oh, you guys want to suck the dick of the Ukraine Russian war for so long? Then NATO, just make Ukraine part of NATO. European Union, go ahead, just induct fucking Ukraine into the European Union and then go to war with Russia to assert your dominance. Um, Kobe said, my thoughts, close the borders and who cares what Europe says about anything? Facts, hard facts. I think this article is so retarded. So fucking retarded. Um, United States flips history about talking about how Russia really isn't a problem. They're not. They're not. They never have been. It's so funny. All of the conflicts we've been engaged in since the end of World War II have always been pushed as like, it's not that they're pushed wantonly as if like it's not legitimate. It is legitimate. A lot of the conflicts that we've been engaged in since since the end of World War II and the collapse of the Soviet Union when fighting communism is because we were trying to prevent the spread of communism because it's a terrible ideology. That's fucking legitimate. Now, if you want to argue whether or not that's a good idea to go to war, I'm not here for that right now, right? But I'm willing to make that argument that it is actually something good to go to war over. And then all the other shit that we've been engaged in is engaging in war due to economics because we have been fighting an economic war with other parts of the world since the end of World War II to maintain our hegemony over the globe. And this is what it is when you're at the top, right? Everybody's vying for first place. So if everybody's vying for first place, you have to constantly exist in a state of agitation or war or conflict to fight all of these other people to maintain you as the king of the hill, right? It's a game of king of the hill. That's what it is. And you have to keep fighting people to maintain the fucking hill. Right? And again, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with our country being the fucking kingpin and then we have to fight for it. That's the reality of life. Other people don't want to fucking admit that, but that's the reality of life. So like, but Russia has never really been a fucking problem. We've had more wars with European countries than we have Russia.
With the beat of the drum and the fife so high, we march with courage under the sky. Banners wave and hearts on fire. In the name of freedom we aspire. Through valleys green and mountains gray, in every